here, so... Oh, he topped it. He cold topped it.
Okay. Try to get up in the air.
Eight iron. Oh, he shanked it. Oh, look at that line, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, boy, is he on the sink.
Welcome to the Bogey Boys Podcast.
We're joined today by a bit of a special guest, Duncan McCarthy from Underpin Sports. How are we, Dunk?
All good, thank you. Yourselves?
Yeah, good. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Very well.
Appreciate you taking the time to join us. So, Duncan, you're Director of Performance for Underpin Sports.
That's right, yeah.
Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone? Just to let everyone know, obviously, who you are and your role within that business.
Yeah, no worries. Well, yeah, Underpin started roughly 18 months ago now, just over. It was kind of an idea between myself and my best friend, Greg Robertson. His background's in finance, and we'd been discussing a couple of things and what have you. And my background's always been coaching and more the psychological side of it for the past, 12 years. I had my own coaching business for 10 years, and we kind of came up with a fusion between what I do on course and how we can support players better off course. There'd been, certainly the players I'd worked with, there'd been a lot of bad examples of that. And Greg, he'd been sponsoring a few players who were with management companies. And just the kind of treatment it wasn't great. It could have been done better. And we having a few beers and what have you one night, and we just saying, you know what, why don't we just do it? We just do it better with a good culture and care for the players. So we started that, and within the business, my role basically is looking after the players on course with the performance and supporting their teams that they've got around them. Greg's is a little bit more. He's kind of like, although his title's CEO, he's very, very smart and clued up in the commercial world. That's been his world in the business world for the past 20 odd years, and highly successful in that. So it's a good fusion between the two of us, working well. Got some great players in the stable, and some good corporate partners as well. So it's all good. Enjoying it at the moment. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Yeah, I mean, we'll come on to how things have gone to building up to that. But how have you found this year with COVID and things? Has that obviously been a bigger challenge? Because I imagine this year's completely different in your world to what you're used to.
Yeah, it's been a massive difference. I think it's shook a lot of industries worldwide in loads of different ways. And even this morning, I was speaking to one of the players, and normally this time of year, you're having an end of season kind of debrief, looking back, and I do a bit of a presentation on the stats and what my take is on the year and how, and a bit of a plan of how they can improve. I actually said to her, I said, I can't do any of that because you haven't competed, because there was no Europro this year. So I'm sat there going, well, we've got a blank canvas literally for the off season based on nothing from this year. So you kind of, I've never had that before. Normally you're going, do you know what, this was a trend in your performances and this stat's improved, this is lagging behind, this is what I believe we need to do. There's none of that this year, so very different. I have covered one hell of a lot less miles this year in travel.
Yeah.
I've not been getting on any two-winged forms of transport this year. Zoom has been the mainstay.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, it has taught me, you can still do your job from home.
Yeah.
Is it going to replace travel? No way, because I'm a massive believer in face-to-face and being there and observing the players out on the course competing. That's where it matters. So, yeah, for Underpin, it's been a great year. We've had a great year. We've progressed, we've grown, which has been good. And, you know, I appreciate not a lot of people can say that in the respective businesses. So we're very thankful for that.
Yeah. Good stuff. So, obviously,
You go
on, Kev, you go.
I was just going to say, Duncan, so then, just from getting Underpin started, you and your friend are obviously there. Did you go and then take loads of the players that you were already coaching and bring them into Underpin, or did you actually start Underpin and then go reaching out to players to get them in?
No, it was kind of a mix of both, really. I'd known. Yeah. I mean, I've coached from Europro level up since 2009 and had some really good successes, a fair amount of wins, order merit wins and stuff and what have you, and taking players right through to main tour, which has been good. But it was kind of a mix between the two, really. we just identified the players that we wanted to work with, because that's a big thing. We've been approached by a lot of players, but the fit's not always there, which is okay, it's fine. But I'm a massive believer. You need to work with a certain individual that has certain traits. So we've got a good mix of that and added players naturally and in the right way, rather than going, let's just get loads in.
Yeah.
And we're really happy with the stable. We're looking to grow, certainly at the higher level. A couple of the boys have been now competing. 3 of them have competed at the top level in multiple events, and I kind of see that as a progression. Me as a coach, I've got my own goals that I want to tick off. Just missed out on one last week, which was a shame, but that'll come. So I'm passionate about taking on more players at the high level and testing myself as a coach. So.
Well, talk to us about that then, Duncan, about how obviously you got to the position where obviously we know how Underpin was established now with you and a close friend. So obviously going back further, so how did you start and get into the game, and how did it progress to the point where you became that performance coach? Because I understand you were previously a professional golfer yourself, wasn't you?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I mean, as I was saying before, I touched on it earlier with you guys that football was always my first sport. I played to a high standard of that. So week in, week out, if I wasn't training or playing, I was round the back in the yard, just kicking a ball against the wall, trying to get good with 2 feet and what have you. And playing weekends, training 2-3 times a week and what have you. And went through the ranks there. And I always played golf because my dad's he's worked in the golf industry he's retired now, but worked in the golf industry for 30 odd years. So golf was always part of in our genes, I guess, through that. But he also played a high standard. I mean, he played for sort of England boys when he was younger, a long time ago for him that. But it was always there. So he's always been a good player. He took us up to the club when we were youngsters. I had my first round of 18 with a scorecard when I was 13. So I was quite a late comer to the game, and certainly didn't take it seriously till I was in my 20s, really. I was still playing high standard of football, and I had a shocking injury there, and that was kind of that. Carried on playing, but couldn't play the level I was at. And I was like, I finished uni, graduated, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to set some goals here, 3 goals each year, see if I can achieve them. I worked part-time to earn some money, and I achieved what I wanted to. And then I hit a crossroads. Do I turn pro or do I go work? And I got offered a job by Nike, got taken out to Amsterdam to their HQ, and I didn't take the job. I just didn't feel it was right for me at the time. And then I got offered a job with FootJoy, went down to get an interview for them, and they offered me it. And I just suddenly kind of thought, I better take it, because I've just turned one down with Nike. I've now got an offer with FootJoy. How many of the leading companies are you going to keep turning down? So I went for it. And what an organisation to work for, just phenomenal individuals and people. I loved it. But sat behind a desk for me 4 or 5 days a week was not me. And it was a hard decision, but I resigned from my post. I left on great terms with them, still speak to most of them now, they're great people, and took that road, turned pro and see where it led. And I kind of played Europro for 3 years. And in that final year, I'd been coaching Chris Hansen since 2009. And then in 2011, he won the Order of Merit. He had 3 wins that year, and I'd played awful. All right, I was taking painkillers before every round nearly for my knee, but that was by the by. I played crap golf. And it was a look in the mirror moment. And I just thought, you know what, I think you can have an impact on other players' games. So I just went full time with it, and then just rolled from there. So it's kind of, I loved it as a pro. It gave me good experiences. I think you get a form of respect off the players that you work with now, because they know that you've at least competed at a certain standard. You can relate to what they're saying. And also, before golf, I was working with lots of sports people, footballers, gymnasts, snooker players, motorsport, swimmers, lots of different sports. So it's amazing what you can take from one sport and transfer into another. So it gave me a good broad sort of scope for filtering into the sport that I love, golf. So
amazing.
So, hey, Duncan, you know what's actually mad that you've contacted us to come on and speak now, because you are literally you're the middle, like you're joining people up, like to take performance and psychology and professional. But in our podcast, we've got the professional route of professionals, and we've got a couple of like psychology little routes going as well. So you're like a double header between the two of them. So it's just boss to be hearing about it, to be honest.
No, it is because
perfect way to synchronise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because like Kev's saying there, we've done the professional route now. We've done 9 or 10 interviews. We've interviewed one of the lads on your stable, Tom Gandy, as well. And obviously, what we're getting from that is giving good insight to our listeners about what it takes to get to that level to become a professional. But it's perfect now to get someone like yourself on who can take it that step further, and somebody who's managing these players and coaching these players and guide them in the right direction. So just talk us through that process, and obviously what it is actually you do on a day-to-day basis, and how you pick these players up when maybe they're feeling down, or how these type of things work, and how you set the goals and what it is that you do.
Daily basis is a mix between first and foremost working with the players. Honestly, some of the players in the stable I speak to a hell of a lot, because it's a two-way thing. It can't just be me contacting them and putting the work on them and discussing this and that. It's got to be two-way. And some players are more forthcoming than others. So that's fine. That's okay, as long as it works well. Everyone's different. So on a day-to-day basis, it's the players making sure they're in a good place, performing, progressing. But then also I do coaching with some of our corporate partners and their individuals and teams as well, because there's a lot of overlaps between sport and business. And my take on it is it's very, very simple. In sport, you're trying to get results through people. And in business, you're trying to get results through people. So the overlaps and principles are very, very similar. So it's a fusion between that. Ultimately, it's my job, my role really is kind of a combination of three things. I'm either directing a player, I'm coaching a player, or at times I'm just supporting a player and being an ear where they don't really require any information. They just want to vent and get something off the chest. And that's for me to understand what role to play at that moment in time. Which am I going to be out of those three? Do they need a bit of direction? Do they need some advice and information, the coaching, or do they actually just need support of, someone to lend an ear, let them get it off the chest? So it's kind of a mix of those three. And when you look at that fusion, yes, performance coach now is, in the last few years, it seems that everybody's getting into that performance coach title. And I look at it, and individually you can do different things. You can work and get a world-class swing. You can work and think to a world-class level. You can work on your body and nutrition to a world-class level. So you can do all the individual things very, very well. But for me, performance is the ability to pull all those together and go and execute those things in different situations on the golf course. And if you can do that,
pressure.
Exactly. And if you can do that to a world-class level, then you've got a chance of making a career out of it and putting bread and butter on your table by playing this great game. But there's a lot of players who do all those three things, four things, whatever, however they view it, really, really well, but they fall down when they get on the first tee. And for me, that's what I'm trying to bridge. That's how I see my role. Sometimes sometimes a player is in a crap situation. They just feel horrific. The game's not good. And honestly, I'm not a fan of positive or negative, or especially false positives. That doesn't cut it. What I am a big believer in is it helpful thinking or is it unhelpful? And sometimes you've got a player who's going to be on the tee in half an hour, they're feeling horrific. Do you know what? You've got to find a way through it. You've got to dig deep. That's where you dig into your soul and you talk about the human behaviours and the human instincts. That's got to come out, because the golf game's struggling skill-wise. So, you don't know what you're going to get. University, you learn all the academia and the understanding of how the inner workings work. But in the real world, you don't know. When that phone rings and you pick it up and you go, "Hi, Coops, how you doing?" And he goes, "Mate, I feel horrific." I don't know what's coming. Is it going to be I feel horrific, or is it going to be, I'm feeling great? Unfortunately, It's not the feeling great a lot. But so you got to think on your feet. You've got to be quick. Has he got 10 minutes? Is he in his room laying down, chilling out? Is he receptive to information? Is he on the move? Is he in the players' lounge? Are the people listening? So you've got all these things going through your mind, and you've got to take them on board and deliver the message clear and to the point, because that's what they want ultimately.
So do you ever find yourself getting stuck in between, like, say someone comes like, I'm feeling this, and then you start giving them a lot of like positivity or like whatever, and then all he wants is a swing change? Have you ever been in that sort of position? Do you know, like, do you get, oh, you've got it wrong, it's hard to differentiate what person you need to be?
Yeah, sometimes I mean, the players that I'm working with now, they have those people in place, and I think one of the most important things to understand in a team is everybody understand their role. So if you've got a fitness trainer in place, that fitness trainer needs to understand his role, which is basically the player's body is my job. They need to be free of injury. They need to be getting stronger, more flexible, better balance, all those traits that you're looking for physically. So that's their role. If you've got a swing coach in play, that swing coach needs to know their role as well, which is, right, technically, are they making the right moves with the golf club and putting in the position that we're working towards? That's their role. My role is, right, I'm not going to talk to him about his takeaway. I'm not going to talk to him about getting on the squat rack and doing more squats because he needs stronger glutes or whatever. I need to understand my role, and it is the human being behind the performance and where they're at, personally and professionally. And also the performance traits in terms of how's your decision making, what's your commitment like to the decisions, what's your acceptance like after the golf shot, what's your self-talk like in between shots, what's your preparation like, what you're doing in your downtime, who you're spending your time with. That's my job. I need to understand that and not overlap. And if a player starts saying, oh, it just felt horrible, Duncan, my swing and da-da-da, I'll listen, I'll let him get it out, and then I'll politely tell him to ring his swing coach, because it's the coach's job. So it's, that's where the directing comes in. Direct the player in the right direction. You won't go to your accountant for marketing advice. You go to your marketing department or your marketing person. So
But it's good that, because like I just mentioned there, with the professional route, we're getting players who are there at the time and what it takes to become a professional. But obviously, what type of advice could you give to like a young aspiring amateur who's not at that level yet, who's probably wanting to make those decisions? And okay, we're giving them advice from a professional perspective, as to say, as a professional, you take this route because you're good enough. As a from a playing ability. But what advice would you give like the young aspiring amateurs when they need to make that bigger decision about what tour they want to enter, which route they want to take when they turn professional, how to get help, and what type of things can you do there?
Yeah, good question. So you got, there is a lot. There's a lot more now because of social media. This is not just in golf either; it's in the world, isn't it? So information's literally at the end of our fingertips. And you can get insights now through social media, which is great. So then you see all the lifestyles that the top 20 in the world are living, top 50 in the world are living, and everybody, all youngsters now are like, oh, golf's cool. God, he's wearing that. They're getting younger. Look at the life. They're on a plane. They're on a private jet. Look at this car. So more and more want it, which is wonderful. It's great for the game. More are getting into it. But then comes the professional side of it. That's wonderful that you've seen all that and it kind of motivates you. But take that away, and the actual reality of it is that once you get there, up to that top 50 in the world, sure, doors open for you and there's financial benefits, but you can't be doing it for the financial benefits right down here. It's got to be for something bigger, always something bigger. Even when you get there, it's not for that. It's for something bigger, to fulfill potential, to give back to whatever. So your reasons have got to be massive beyond that, what's put in the social media. But when you're younger and you're looking, do I make the transition? Do I not? Number one, what's the evidence that you can see which would say, do you know what? I think I could be able to cut it in the professional game. What evidence, what results have you had in the amateur game? Because if you've played at sort of county level and you've had top fives in some county events and you've done all right and you got to final qualifying one year for the Open and you're playing off scratch, I don't want to put your fire out, but actually there's a lot of guys that I know who, me included now as well, I'm at status back, who are playing off scratch and plus handicaps, working full time. So that doesn't put you in necessarily a special category, but if you can look at it and go, do you know what? I've ticked all my boxes as an amateur that I wanted to do. And you don't have to play for England, you don't have to play Walker Cup, but you've ticked all your boxes, you've done everything, you've got some evidence that you're trending in the right direction, you're progressing, then sure, go for it. Why not? Why would you not? There's going to be enough people saying, oh, you're not good enough, you're not that. Honestly, who cares? It's their opinion, they're entitled to it, but leave it over there. So if you want to go do it, fine, that's great. So you make the decision to turn pro. Now you're into a new pond. No one gives two hoots what you did as an amateur, even if you play Walker Cup or for England or whatever. No one cares. It's a brand new pond and there's some bigger fish in there. So you need to learn to swim very, very fast if you're going to be successful and out there for a long time. And life on tour, your first tour potentially is going to be Europro. That's not a full-time tour in terms of all year round yet. It's a phenomenal tour. I love it to bits, but it's 16 weeks of the year. So how are you filling the other 10 weeks, which is what the equivalent to European Tour play, 20, 25 events. So do you go to Portugal, play Portugal Pro Tour? Do you play 2020 Tour? How are you going to fill it? Do you play Jamaica down south? So look at your schedule and outline it. Okay, that's great. You've outlined it. By the way, you need to get a Europro Tour card, right? You better get entered into that. So what have you got to do to progress through that? And it always comes back to the same thing. You need to be waking up when you're working, waking up and going, my question today is, how am I getting better at this game? What am I going to do today to get myself one step closer? And you just keep getting your reps in, get your days in, successful day after successful day, achieve 1, 2, 3 things a day, small things, and watch that climb up. But once you're out there, for me, the biggest one piece of advice I'd give anybody, and it's not really just for golf or just on tour, is just be careful of who you spend your time with.
Yeah.
You know, are you spending time with people who've got aspirations to improve and progress? Or are you spending time with people who are actually quite comfortable where they're at? Which is fine, but it's not a problem that. But if you have aspirations to improve, you're going to eventually have to leave them behind, which sounds awful, but it's your life. And if you want to go up there, you're going to jump into new ponds. Yeah. So be really careful who you sat in a player's lounge with. Is it negative talk about, oh, I can't believe I'm playing so bad, and oh God, 4 weeks I've been out here and I hate it. Honestly, that'd drain the life out of me.
Yeah.
Or you sat there with people who are going, oh, I've just seen a 20-footer that I drained. God, I tell you what, I'm playing good golf. Or someone who's just not talking about golf, who's just chatting about life and chatting about whatever. Just be careful of the people you spend time with. I would say that is massively important when you turn pro. Be careful with that.
Really good, yeah. I mean, so in addition to that insight then, obviously what have you got from obviously, because what we found when we've spoken to them is how financially, how difficult it is when you're first starting, and obviously what you can do. Obviously, say you've got, we heard stories about players who will potentially work all winter to fund the first couple of events in Europro, and if it doesn't work out for them, they've had to drop down to less expensive tours and so on and so forth. So have you got any advice, or is there anything from like the financial perspective for the young, what the best route to take is and what to do from that perspective?
Yeah, it's a good question, and the financial side is brutal. It is hard because essentially your income's going to come from on course. Because at the lower level, it's hard to get sponsorship. That's the bottom line. It's really hard because as a business, why are you just going to pump some money into a lad on Europro? What's your return? What are you getting back for it? You know, if they've got 15,000 followers and they're on Europro, you might look at it and go, we want social media coverage for our products and it's in line with them. Fine. That's very rare. So then you look at it and go, well, what as a player can I give them back rather than take? What can I give them back? So that's hard. But I've had conversations with players on the main tour and European tour, and they're talking about deals off course and it's worth this amount, 5 figures and what have you. You have one good week on tour, you can win six figures. So if you wake up every morning and get better at the game, you'll earn 6 figures. So even when you're at the top level, sponsorship should never be a priority. It's a little bonus. And if it fits in, great, you'll always earn more on course. McIlroy stops earning money on course, his sponsorship's going to go down. Yeah. Why? Because if he's earning less money, his ranking's going down, he's falling, he's slipping. So number one priority as a player, performance. Let the rest slot in. But when you're new to the pro ranks, finances are hard. Some have to go out and work through winter and just take the hit and go, I'm not going to do a lot work-wise on my game. I'm going to have to go to the range in the evening. I'm going to have to get the most out of those sessions and on a weekend. Monday to Friday, I'm going to have to go get my head down, graft 8 till 4 or something, 8 till 5, get my money in and do that. So that's one route. The other route is if you've got some money in the bank or you've got a little bit of support, back yourself. Yeah. Back yourself. Yeah. Less and less lads are willing to back themselves. Go if it's 200 quid for an entry fee, and there's nothing else to play in, and you're not doing anything else apart from practicing, put your 200 quid in that pot and go back yourself. And you'll trip up 4, 5, 6 times and you'll lose all those 200 quids. Eventually, though, you'll be stronger and you'll win $1,000 and you'll win $2,000. There's your money back. And that's how I view it. I mean, Marcus is a good example, Marcus Armitage. And I remember back in 2013, we were in our second stint. We worked in 2009 and then he kind of left and his life spiraled out of control a bit. Came back in 2013. We sat in Moortown's clubhouse and he wanted to work with me again. And I said, no problem. Right, this and that. So we had a chat and he broke down in tears in front of me and he was in a real mess. And I said, mate, I get that you don't trust yourself at the moment, but until you're ready to trust yourself, trust me. I promise I won't let you fall. And he did. And in 2013, we looked at it and he owed a lot of money and he had nothing at all. But he was working a little bit. And I said, that money, put it into the 1836 tour events, play one dayers. You're going to have to build your money up for that. Whilst you're doing that, let's go to Tour School Europro, get your card. So at least you've got it. Now, he got his card, but he couldn't afford to go to Europro. So he said, build up in the 1836. And he kept going out and he kept backing himself. And he won a few. He had top 5. So he was picking up a bit of cash. Then when we decided, right, let's go to Conqueror Wood, play the Island Europro. Right at that moment, and this is where I'm a big believer in like law of attraction, right at that moment when he decided that, a guy came along and went, I'll sponsor you for that event. I'll pay for it. You're like, that's what happens when you're willing to put yourself up. He backed himself. A guy comes along, I'll pay for it, goes out, wins Conqueror Wood, his first ever Europro, 10 grand in the bank.
Amazing.
But I look at that, and the moral of that story is not, oh, wonderful, what a lovely story that is, and he won and blah, blah, blah. The moral of the story is right back in the depths of winter when it's a crappy place for someone who's not on main tour, going to Dubai and where Australia and China and this competing. In the UK especially, it's miserable, it's damp, you're not earning a lot of money. He was willing to back himself.
Amazing.
And that's what it comes down to. He willing to back himself. Exactly.
Like, you know, when you said there about like you got to go and work maybe to earn money, and then you've got to go to the range in the evening. It's like starting, like you can obviously golf's a lot. You got to put a lot more effort in, but it's like starting any new business where you've got to invest more time in new things in life. You've got to do it after your 9 to 5, haven't you? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I couldn't agree more, Kev. It's exactly that. It's not just golf. I've worked with footballers who are now, well, one of them's an international footballer playing in the Premier League. There was no cameras on him when he was younger, but the time and effort that he put into it, the graft, and now people look at him going, wow, he's just signed for that amount, that many million. Oh my God, what a life he's living. Well, he is, but you didn't see the time where he turned around and went, I'm going to do extra. I'm going to do more because it's the only thing I'm going to do for a living. I want to do that. And his brother is playing professional football as well in this country. Same attitude, relentless pursuit of improving and fulfilling potential. And everybody does it in everything. Our first year with Underpin, everybody will only see the front end and go, oh, yeah, it looks really professional. Love that. Love what it's about. Good vibe you're putting out there. Behind the scenes, the grind, the graft that was going on, it was frightening. And that was to get the train moving in the right direction. Once it's moving, you've got momentum, you're off and you flow, you keep putting your time in. But I have a simple thing that I keep coming back to. I am not bothered about somebody who is highly motivated and wants to work hard on the good days. I'm interested in, are you willing to do that on your bad days and when you're not feeling great? And if you can make progress on your worst day, tell you what, it's there for the taking.
Yeah.
But not many people do that extra mile.
Yeah, so I'm looking at another thing when you talk about the extra mile, and I've noticed a little video that you put up about your mornings.
Yeah.
So I went to a meditation course last weekend, and he brought this miracle morning thing forward to us, and was like, you know, wake up, like cold shower, meditate, and then attack the day if you can win your morning. And it's literally the same as you were saying about the bad days. I woke up like a bit of a hangover, and I woke up and just thought I'm going to still do it. And I felt so much better for doing it than just like not doing it. Do you know what I mean? On my bad days. But I noticed you got the same sort of mindset. When it comes to the morning, you can roll forward with momentum for the rest of the day.
Yeah, you can, Kev. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, you know, that sort of stuff that you've listened to from me, I don't say that from a point of view of I'm perfect and I get it right. Therefore, it gives me a right to say that. I'm human as well. And we have good mornings, poor mornings. You wake up feeling absolutely knackered and game over and like hungover at times. Other mornings, you jump out of bed and you're like, bring it on, I'm ready for it. That's the part of living. You need those up and downs to sign that you're living. But if you have a morning routine, the reason you have routines is it's a go-to, it becomes a habit, and over time it's something that you trust because it will produce the goods on a regular basis. That's why like a pre-shot routine is important in golf. It's the fashionable thing now. Let's work on pre-shot routine. But actually, do you know the meaning behind the pre-shot routine? It's something that's going to help you under pressure, because by the time you get into the pressurized situation to where you're in contention or something, you'll trust it, and you need something to trust. So your morning routine is massively important, because you look at a day and imagine a train in a station. Your job in the morning is to get the train out of the station, get it moving. And your next station that you're going to end the day at is your goal for the day. So how are you going to get that train moving out of the station? If it's a 5-10 minute meditation, if it's a cold shower, if it's both of those, if it's a healthy breakfast, if it's all three of those, if it's exercise, if it's whatever it is, find your reason for having a morning routine and just be relentless in trying to do that as often as you can. And I say as often as you can because life's not that perfect. You won't achieve it every morning. But what I don't want people to do is go, oh, I didn't do it twice this week, and spend the time beating themselves up. That's not helpful. Give yourself a kick up the backside if you need it. But actually, let's focus on the 5 days that you did do it. How did you feel on the back of that? Well, I felt great. Right, wonderful. Do you want those feelings again? Yeah, I do. Right, let's go do it tomorrow.
Yeah, so routine,
yeah, it's important. And same with nighttime routine. People can't sleep. It's a great thing to get into a nighttime routine where they struggle to switch off and just fall asleep. And the only reason they fall asleep is because they're exhausted. That's not that healthy. You want to go to sleep because you're ready to sleep and rest for the next day. So evening routines are good as well.
Yeah, well, I find that myself personally. I can't sleep. I'm not a night person. I can't sleep at all. My mind's doing 1,000,001 things, thinking about tomorrow, thinking about the weeks ahead and everything. So, yeah, I think I could do personally with getting myself into a bit more of a night routine, because then when I wake up the next morning, I can't survive without a coffee, if I'm honest. It's a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, you're right, though. And these things, obviously, when you do wake up and you obviously, maybe I've got a good night's sleep, or I haven't been drinking one weekend, so feel great on a Sunday, for example. The endorphins it releases and the way you feel, even just off 1 or 2 gym sessions in the week, how better you feel about yourself. It gives you that like positive mindset, I imagine, and it makes you want to strive to achieve more, doesn't it? Because you're thinking in the right way.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, like you say there, Mark, about, you can't get started without the coffee. That's not a bad thing. If the coffee is part of your routine, have it. I'm exactly the same. I've got my coffee machine sat proudly on the worktop. That ain't going anywhere, because that button needs to get pressed in the morning. I need that coffee, and I'm like, right, we're off. Yeah. Make breakfast for the 2 boys and the missus. Jobs are good and they're off and running. I've helped them get their day off to a good start by just supporting them and getting the breakfast ready, which makes me feel good. I then crack on with my day and off we go. And so the routine's really important. Just identify what everyone at any time can have a blank canvas to work from. Literally, just get a notebook, get a piece of paper, write down in the middle of it morning routine, and then write arms off it and create your own picture of what a great morning routine looks like to you. Because everyone's situation is different. So I can't give you two the same routine as me, as Billy Bob down the road and Sheila up the other way, because everyone's got a different situation. So there's your canvas, right in the middle, my morning routine, or Mark's morning routine, Kev's morning routine. Write down, create the picture of what are the things you want involved in it. Just go smash it. Make the commitment to yourself. Go smash it.
No, great stuff, mate. It's amazing insight you give us here.
Yeah. And as well, Duncan, one thing that you can say for everybody, what nighttime routine should start with is switching your phone off or putting it down, because that is what keeps people up at night.
It's unreal. So, do you know, there's a reason why, you boys probably know this, but, and by the way, I don't claim to know loads about it, but like with social media posts, they say that evenings are a good time to post because a lot of people are online. There's your proof, Kev.
Yeah.
There's your proof.
Exactly, yeah.
You didn't say that if people weren't on it. And I do this sometimes. you'll switch off from the evening and you're like, oh, put my favourite programme on, watch whatever. So you sat there having a bit of downtime and what have you. You might have a bit of music and you're just chilling. But if you got the TV on, the amount of times you've got your phone in your hand, I'm pulling myself up on it more now, where I'm going, hold on, I've got 2 screens here. Do one or the other, Duncan.
Yeah.
So then most of the time I'm like, phone's going out of the room. Right, watch this. It's frightening. Easily distracted.
Yeah, I do that all the time myself, yeah. Telly's on and I've got the phone.
If I find myself sometimes waking up, checking the time, and then just going on Instagram, and I'm like, it's 4 a.m. What am I doing here? And you can't get back to sleep because you've seen something on Instagram. And I'm like, what am I doing?
It's like it sucks you in. I tell you what, the psychology behind that stuff, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. But I do think that mobile, I mean, I don't know how old you guys are, but I remember, I was talking about this recently, that back in uni days when we used to go out, and even before uni and whatever, you'd go out into town and they were the best days because mobile phones had just come in, but all you had them for was text messages and calls. That was it. So there was no sort of women taking pictures in toilets thinking it's cool and, you know, all of that. And, get here and selfies and all that. There was none of that because you were too busy enjoying yourself. There was no social media then. Your social media was social interaction, not social media. And now it's that, come here, let's just let everyone else know they're having a good time. It's like, if you're having that good a time, you wouldn't have time to get your phone in your hand. And everyone gets sucked into it. But I do think that mobile phones are a great thing. They make my life easier, work-wise. They're convenient. But I think what we need to learn, individually and collectively, is a new skill set to work, have them work for us rather than against us. Like you say, Kev, you know, waking up and check the time and you end up on Instagram. It's that kind of, how do we learn that skill set of, no, that's not helpful for me? Because you know it's not. But at the time you're like, oh my God, I've just been on it for 15, 20 minutes. What have I done there?
It's even moving it out of reach, isn't it? Something as simple as that. Just don't put it into reach. I mean, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you need to know the time, then you get yourself out of bed. And then you'll soon stop doing it because nobody wants to get out of bed in the middle of the night, do they?
Exactly. I mean, we keep putting the chocolates out of reach of the kids. I need to do the same with my mobile.
It's one of them as well. It's like, even the technology companies themselves, they're after your attention every 5 seconds with posts and all different stuff. But even they're sending out screen time reports to everyone. So you can actually see how much you're online. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, if you can check them and get them down every week, you're going to be aiming toward being on your phone less. And if you actually check your screen time and how many times you pick up your phone a day, you'll be shocked by it, I bet you.
Oh, without that.
I've done
it. Do you know what, Kev, as well, that you kind of relate that back to what we're talking about before, about youngsters coming up into the game and wanting to take it on as a living. How many players that I see with a mobile phone in the pocket or on them and they're on it, and it's like, I am all for having good or trying to achieve good balance in life. You can't work and just exhaust yourself. Sometimes you've got to listen and go, I need a bit of downtime. So I'm all for that. And I advise that to players at times. Just take a week off. Just put your clubs away and rest. Come back remotivated. But that's a massive distraction for players who claim to be wanting to become one of the world's best or claim that they want to be a European Tour player and winner for 10, 15 years. Yet they're checking the phone every 5 or 10 minutes. I remember, where was it? Germany, the BMW, was it BMW, Porsche? It was either BMW International or the Porsche Open. And there was a player that I just started working with, and I was about 30 yards away from him. I was at the back of the range, just observing his behaviours and what he was doing. And every 2 to 3 minutes, he was checking his phone. And I could just tell in his body language, he was uneasy being there. It was his first time out on the main tour. He wasn't comfortable. He was checking his phone. It was like a comfort thing for him. Yeah. And I just thought that session cannot be have any quality to it. Yet you go down the line, not that event, but you go down the line at a major or a WGC. Brooks Koepka hasn't got his phone in his pocket. DJ hasn't got his phone in his pocket. That's in the bag, in the jewellery pouch, probably with a beautiful watch. And it'll come out when he's finished his work.
Yeah.
It's true. You look at that and you go, there's another piece of advice I'd give any youngster. When you're working, put the bloody phone away. Put it away. Unless if you need it for work. But even then, get shot.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's honestly, it's great
Well, at the
insight.
end of the day,
Well, I was just gonna say the obviously the insight you're giving there to the amateurs is brilliant, but obviously just sort of flipping that on its head. Have you ever had any obviously pros in the game who've maybe been on the European tour? I know you spoke briefly about Marcus there, but they've been on the tour. They've sort of finished top 100 in the order of merit. They're earning a decent wedge, and then all of a sudden they're dropping down to Challenge Tour, and obviously the mental toughness that comes with that. And obviously, what advice would you give to those pros who are coming the other way? So obviously they've worked their way up to that top level, but then obviously they're on the way back down. Now, how do you keep those guys motivated, and what type of performance management goes into that type of situation?
Yeah, it's a good question again. Do you know what? I've got an example of that. Marcus in 17, 16, 15. In 2015, in 13 we worked together, and he won that Europro. At the end of that year, he went separate ways. He didn't want to work together and work with someone else. So through 14, he was working with this other guy. And then at the end of 14, he rang me and said, "Oh, Dunks, I'm in a right mess. I've made a bad decision again. Can we work together?" So we met up. And in 2015, we committed to what we wanted to do. He won twice, Cumberwell and Close House. I was on the bag for that, actually, carrying. And he won those two, got his top 5, got his Challenge Tour card for the next year, went out. And actually, I'll give you another insight, another story just on the way to answering that. That year, we got, it was at, where was it? Down at Oxford. It'll come to me. He was playing in the English Challenge, and he was flying, no drop shots, nothing. 36 hole, and he was top 10 at the time. 36 hole, 9 on a par 5, out of nowhere. Just, where's that come from? And it was quite tightly squeezed, and he ended up just making the cut after that. And I thought, he's done this loads. He'll have one hole where he just blows out. What's going on here? I need to find the answer to this. So anyway, I did a bit of routing. And that year, Jordan Smith was number 1 in the rankings, and Marcus was 91st. And I looked at it, and the birdie count between the two was hardly anything. Marcus was making enough birdies to compete at the top of the order merit. But double bogeys and worse, wow. That, it was scary. I can't remember the numbers exactly. Can't remember yesterday, let alone a few years ago. His double bogeys and worse were shocking. So anyway, I've written this long report to him, emailed it to him, and I before I press send, I was thinking, it's Wednesday of the Irish Challenge. Do I send this to him the day before, the night before? He pegs it up, and I thought, do you know what? I'm listening to my gut. So I press send. He rings me 10 minutes later. Mate, that's amazing. That's unbelievable. I went, I'm glad you said that, because that took me a long time to get that together. So he says, well, what do you suggest? And I said, this is going to sound negative and backward, but if you play this week and your worst score in a hole is bogey, you're probably going to perform really well, because the front end is absolutely top draw. So he was like, no, I get you. He went out, worst score was a bogey, and he finished second. That's when it kicked off. So you talk about, I want to hit it straighter, longer, I want to hold more putts, I want to chip it tighter. That's fine. But how about improving your worst shots off the tee, your worst shots into green, narrow the miss down? So then he goes to, that kicked us on, and he had a second there, and he went on a few other good finishes. Went to China, and he won the Foshan Open. And it kind of spiraled from there. And that got him his European Tour card, because he finished top 15 or whatever it was that year. So he's gone Europro 1 year, Challenge the next, European Tour the next. So 2017, we go out. I said, I'll do 3 weeks with you early, because otherwise I wouldn't see him for a long time. So we went out, we did Abu Dhabi, Qatar and Dubai, the Dubai Desert Classic. So we did those 3 weeks, got some really good work in and what have you. And the year rolled out from there, and I went to a few other events with him. And then he just stopped listening, just wasn't really taking any information in anymore. And I was getting frustrated. I'm just like, what's the point in this? And it came to a head, and he just said, mate, I think we need to sort of part ways. I'm like, fine, no problem. So he did that. And then he lost his card. And that's, in answer to your question, having that faster climb to then straight back down to Challenge. Tough, really, really tough. So in 18 and 19, Is that right? Yes, in 2018, we didn't work together, and the rest of 17, and he just went down. His rankings were down. And then at the end of 19, a week before second stage of tour school, he rang me, and this is sort of the answer bit of it. He rang me just in a real mess. He wanted to work with me all that year in 2019. I said, no, I don't need the head noise from it and everything. And then at the end of the year, he rang me. I said, I'll meet you in Gino's at the Springs, just down the road from me. Met up, started chatting, and he again broke down in tears and got quite emotional. I said, mate, I'm facing literally bankruptcy and no category on challenge or anything. I don't know what to do. I need your help. I know every time we work together, we've improved and gone up the rankings. And I'm like, why do you keep leaving? My God. Anyway, so we sat there and I said, right, mate, I said, you've got tour school next week. I said, we've got to find a way just to get through it. Just find a way to get through it. We'll do it together, but we'll literally try and wing it through it. Because what really can you do a week before? There's not a lot. So I just got him engaged in having a sense of achievement again every day. What 3 things do you want to achieve today? Even if it was go play 9 holes, do a performance game on the putting green and do some chipping. Even if it's that, just tick them off. Get that sense of I'm achieving here again, because he hadn't had that for a long time. So he went out and got through second stage, got to final stage, got his tour card, which was just amazing. And this year he's gone from when we started working again, he was 1,386 or something like that in the world. He's now top 200, around 200 or something. I might have finished 202 or something.
Yeah. But
the climb's been phenomenal. There's not many players who do that. But I reminded him on Saturday, actually, last week in the Tour Champs, we had a real sort of heart-to-heart. And he was quite down about a few things and what have you that week. And anyway, I won't go into those details. But I just reminded him, I said, Marcus, I get where we're working to, and this is just a stop-off. But honestly, press pause, mate. Press pause and look back where you were 12 months ago, because you were sat across the table from me with tears coming down your eyes going, I don't know what to do, mate. You're the one who can help me. You're the one who can help me. So sometimes we've got to stop, press pause, look at where we were, look at where we've come to, and just keep chipping away. So it can happen a lot, and I've seen it where they've fallen. And what he's shown this year from tour school getting through has been nothing but grit and desire. Human skill, that, not golf, human.
Yeah.
You know the way he keeps leaving you and you keep taking him back, when a man and a woman keep breaking up and getting back together. Do you get any of your friends saying don't be taking him back?
I sit with a pint like that. Oh, he's doing my head in here.
He treats you like shit. Don't be taking him back.
I reminded him on Saturday. I was stood at the bottom of the garden and he'd said something to me, and he got quite upset about it, what he'd said, just because it meant a lot to him. And he says, mate, that means so much to me, you saying that. I said, well, I'll tell you what I said in 2013. You were not ready to trust yourself. And I said to you, trust me until you're ready to trust yourself again. I won't let you fall. And I still stand by that now. You have never, ever not improved when we've been working together. And sometimes as your ranking goes up, you forget about that and you get blinded by the bright lights of where you've got to. Don't turn those lights off, because you're in control of the key. Turn the lights off. Remember who was there when you first started, who's got you to here, which shows you can improve with that person. So now we just keep going and we have to up our game again. And we're already chatting about next year and what we wanted to achieve. You just keep doing it. You work to something, like I said before, leave one station, get to the next. Right, are we getting to the next? Do it. You got to keep refining yourself, not reinventing yourself, just refining, improving. It's
like you say, he's in the biggest pond now as well, isn't he? So it's all the fish that are going to be in the pond are around them, aren't they, really? Unless you go to the PGA Tour and you're dealing with DJs and all that, and majors. But as far as the golf, European Tour is the biggest, isn't it? So
yeah, it is. And last week, let's be honest, it's a hell of a field last week. ex-world number ones, you've got major champions, you've got Order of Merit winners, you've got WGC winners, Rolex winners. That is a special elite group of people to be in for that week. Yeah. And I actually said to him earlier in the week, I said, mate, I'm going to be honest with you. You will look at this similar to Abu Dhabi when you played there early this year. Wow, look at the faces here, which is a step up from regular tour events. But what you've got to remember is you're not in their world. You're in Marcus Armitage's world. And Marcus's world has taken him to this environment. And now it's about us showing the world-class behaviours that we've shown already, the commitment to our game and our performance, and we go and execute that in our world, which just so happens to have other top-class people around us. And, people, we're always in and out of our comfort zones. And those who are willing to be out of it more are the ones who tend to progress. They'll trip up a lot, but they'll bloody progress. Yeah.
No, Teeth, the work you're doing sounds amazing, mate. Honestly, like getting the lads, and like you said at the very beginning, it shows that there's a real passion there to want to do the right thing for the lads, and which has maybe not been in and around the tours in the past. So obviously moving forward, then what does the future look like for the business, and what are the plans for you guys moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, for the business, honestly, we've got big plans. We want to be working with the world's best players. As a coach, I outlined my goals quite a long time ago, and I've achieved a lot of them already. And now the next ones they're a big step up. They're going to challenge me as a coach. I have to keep making sure that I'm developing and progressing as a coach. I don't want to be the same type of coach in a year as I am today. I want to be a better version. So with that, I let my players know, or some of them know, about my goals if they ask about it, because it'll help them go, hold on, I've got a coach who's driven. He's wanting to achieve his goals. But hell, I want to help him achieve them because he wants to help me achieve mine. So I think that's healthy.
Lead by example.
Exactly, Kev. Yeah, exactly. So I've got big ambitions of what I want to achieve. And with that, I have to work with the right type of players. And I don't mean, just give me the top 10 in the world, let me do that. That's kind of a bit of a cheat. Whereas I take pride in going, Marcus was rock bottom 12 months ago. Look at where he is. Coops was a Challenge Tour player when we started working. He's now a European Tour player. Gandhi is, to be fair, he started working with us at the beginning of this year, and he's had some good experiences at European Tour level, but now we're working on some bigger picture stuff to take him on. So those sort of successes, and the ones before Underpin, were big. But for Underpin the business, we want to grow the stable. We want to be operating, having our players who aren't European Tour level yet, moving up through the ranks. We want to take on more European Tour players. And who knows, some of those may step across the pond into America. Quite like America, so I won't mind venturing over there.
Hey, Duncan, do you know what's gone on here? We've had a bit of a mad one here. I thought you were here to recruit us.
Is that not what's happening now?
I think you'd seen my swing and thought I need to get him in the stable.
I'll call you, lads. I'll call you.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Been brilliant, and I wouldn't mind if we could schedule another one of these in maybe 12 months and just see how the stable's getting on, or how Underpin has grew in the in the year that's going to pass. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever, 6 months.
Yeah. That's not a problem at all. Yeah, you lads just let us know whenever you want to do something. Just give us a shout. It's easy enough. Yeah. Up on a call and whatever.
And we've done one of these with Chris Hansen as well. Don't know if you've seen on our profile. It's not out yet, but we have done one with him.
Yeah, I was going to say no. I haven't listened to it. No wonder I haven't. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's not out yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one with Chris. Well, obviously, I mean,
one little thing I'll say, and I don't know if you might want to use this as one of your little bits of advice to players. You can say, you are your own boss, and so would your boss let you have your phone on you in work? And you say no, so why are you letting yourself? I just thought of that then.
It's true. No, yeah.
Kev's wisdom, as usual, shining through.
Hold on, let me write that down.
Get that written down now.
It's true. No, you're right. You are right, though. It's the same with, you'd always honour a meeting with someone else. Why would you not honour a meeting with yourself? Like, go to the gym. If you put that in, if you were meeting a mate there, you'd always go. You wouldn't let them down. But doing it by yourself, it's like, do you not think enough of yourself to honour that commitment? And it's the same with switching your phone off for a practice session or a round of golf. Lads I've worked with have had some right bollockings off me. If I've seen them and they've had the phone out, unbelievable. Because I know if they were in a session with me and I'm like this, yeah, it's good, that nice one. Be fuming.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't know who they're speaking to. They could be speaking to the bird who's doing their head in, and then it's going to affect the performance. Do you know what I mean? Exactly
that. Yeah, I know. It does my head in sometimes. The phone, it gets in the way. I've had sessions before where I've actually had, it was younger ones a few years ago, where they're literally on the phone in the session.
Fucking hell.
There was one time where we're doing it and we're just chatting and we're literally at a table like this, and they're just writing. I'm writing some notes down, and they've picked up the phone and they're on it. And then I've picked my stuff up and I've gone, superb, catch you later. Like, are we finished? We've only just started. Well, no, it's all right, because your phone's a better place to be than this session.
Yeah.
He had nothing to say. And I was like, that phone ever comes out on the top of this table ever again, or in a session of mine, we're not working together.
Right, though, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Need that discipline, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he now works in a phone shop. No, you don't know.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. It's been great having you on.
The pleasure was ours, mate.
As well. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Lads.
But next time you're down, like SNA Formula, if you're around here, we'll have to come and have a game.
Yeah, let us know when you're up this way. We'll have a knock.
And we're doing it a Bogey Boys Golf Day there. If you fancy coming down for it, I don't know if Tom Gandy said he'll come and play. So I don't know if you want to come and get involved in that. We're just going to do like a charity day dinner and little do thing afterwards at Formula probably next year. So we'll put you on the list anyway.
100% do that. Yeah, do that definitely. That'd be quality. And I'll hit you up if I'm over at SNA, but it might not be for a few months. It's flipping freezing.
Oh no, yeah.
That's it. Stay indoors for now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But look, cheers, mate. Yeah, appreciate it, mate. Honestly, thanks a lot for your time, and we'll catch up.
Thanks for your time, boss. Chatting to you.
Pleasure, lads. Pleasure. Take it easy.
You take care, mate.
See you, lads. Bye.
Bye.
A bit of a helping breeze right here, so. Oh, we topped it. Cold topped it. Okay. Ready to go. Yeah. 8 iron. Oh, we shanked it. Oh, look at that line, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, boy, is he on the sink.